There is a process to living life. And when you're living your life according to the ideal process for you, then you pretty much get to the end of your life and you find out that when you look back, you see that you feel more fulfilled, you feel like you've lived your life according to the way that you've wanted to live, and you're happy and content with your life. Now, in order to look back at your life and be content with it, it is wise to identify what is the ideal process for you to live. Just imagine putting together ingredients for a piece of cake or a meal. Now, a lot of people live their lives just like they cook. They put a bunch of ingredients in a pot and hope for the best. Now, hopefully that's not everyone, but I know a few people that do live their lives that way. And it's not wise to live your life in an unstructured way, in a way that you're just hoping for the best, because then you're going to get what you get. In order to get what you truly want and what's truly going to fulfill you, it's wise to identify what is the right process that's going to get you to where you want to go. The first thing that identifies the process for you to follow, the ideal process for you, is to have a look at what are your life's priorities. First of all, you have a look at where do you want to be? What is the end result? And what are the priorities that need to be done in order for that result to happen? And a lot of times we don't live our life according to our most important priorities. Most of the time we live according to the lowest possible priorities, and we wait for everybody else to tell us what to do. We wait for everybody else to tell us how to live our lives. So in order to identify what the right process is for you, it's a great idea to look at what are your priorities in life. What are your most important priorities? And you identify your important priorities by having a look at a particular activity. Let's say you're involved in an activity, whether it's your work or play or whatever it is. When you're engaged in that activity, do you feel present? Do you feel fully connected? Do you feel focused? Do you feel engaged in that activity? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel a sense of joy happening? Do distractions, there might be distractions around you, but you might find that you're not bothered by distractions. And generally, your well-being is elevated. When you're done with that activity, you have more energy than when you've begun with that activity. So that's a fulfilling activity. So while you're engaged in that activity, it's wise to have a look at what's happening in your body, what's happening in your emotions, what's happening in your mental body. Or are you distracted trying to be somewhere else? Now, for sure, certain activities are important to be done and we're going to be distracted because we've committed to do certain activities. But to identify the most important activities for you, it would be wise to have a look at when you're engaging in that activity, what is the effect it has on you during and after you've done it. So after the activity, how do you feel? What's happening to you? Do you feel more energized? Do you feel like you want to start that activity all over again and continue? Do you feel like you want to go and take on the next level? Has your confidence raised? Has your level of self-worth and value in yourself increased? Has your self-esteem increased? So these are ways and indicators that you can identify that you're actually living according to the most important priorities for your life. And when you're living according to the highest priorities, the highest possible priorities, just like cooking or baking, it's important that ingredients go in the right order, in the right priority. Now, it's not one thing is better than other. All the ingredients go in, but there's an order, a priority in what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. Yeah, sometimes you put first, second, and third together, but it makes sense for certain situations. But it's important to have a look at the priorities. And a lot of times we're not looking at what is the number one priority that I need in order to get to my end result such that I'm most fulfilled. Not just get life out the way, but such that you end life and you're actually more fulfilled than when you started off. That's the aim that most of us are actually looking for. Now, a lot of times when we're engaging in identifying our highest priorities. We might identify what our highest priorities are, and I've done this myself, and I still found it difficult to engage in the activity that's going to get me to the end result that I want to. I found it challenging. So what did I do? I noticed that there were particular habits that were in place, that were trained to go in a particular direction. I was trained from a young age with particular habits for whatever reasons. And those habits may not be beneficial for me to get to the ultimate goal that's going to leave me most fulfilled. So I had to look at, okay, what are the habits that are going to be aligned with the highest priorities that are going to take me to where I want to go? And I started to integrate those habits into my life. Now, it's not always easy to change a habit, because there's a saying that goes, the chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. So habits do tend to be very strong, and if they're not in service of where we want to go, it's quite difficult to change, but very possible to shift direction. And what I recommend is doing small little changes, small incremental changes to direct you to where you want to go. And before you know it, you'll be doing the highest priority things that you want to be doing in life to get you to the end result. So whatever it is, maybe you want to leave your job and doing what you really love. Maybe you already are an entrepreneur and you are struggling. You got into this business for passion, but you found all these other activities are overwhelming you and you're not happy anymore. So whatever your reason is, it's important to reflect on your life again and have a look at what are the priorities that you need right now. Because priorities before a year or two ago or even a few months ago may not be the same priorities that you need to align your life to get you to where you need to go. All right, so to recap, there's a process in life in which your life's ingredients, your talents, your skills, who you are essentially, how you know yourself, goes into the process and is lived according to that process. And when you apply your unique process, you get to the result that's going to leave you most fulfilled, and you look back and you find life is content. You're happy with how you lived your life. When you're living according to other people's process, other people's priority, you'll find that you're not fulfilled. You'll find that something's constantly missing. So it's important to identify your priorities, change the habits to fulfill your most important priorities, not the low priority stuff. And once the high priority stuff is done and complete, you'll find that you're more fulfilled and you can engage with the low priority stuff if it's even needed. So I really hope you enjoyed this short little video. It may have been a bit longer than I'd expected, and I hope it was valuable for you. I thoroughly enjoyed speaking about this particular topic because it's something I've struggled with personally in my life. If you're interested in a little bit more, the next video is going to speak about preparation, because preparation is part of getting to where we want to go. And the two elements of preparation is knowing where you are and knowing where you want to go. So if you're interested in that, look forward to the next video. Thank you very much for coming through and watching.